Welcome, everyone. It's great to see you this evening for our next 20-minute founder event. It's absolutely fantastic to have Alena Golden joining us this evening. Really looking forward to hearing Alena's story of launching Raptech Studios. But just as we get started, a little bit of housekeeping. Just a reminder, make sure you engage in the chat, so log in, put any questions that you've got for Alena in the chat. We'll be going through those later on. There'll be a time for Q&A, and I'll be picking them from the chat on the side of the screen there. So make sure you engage in that. Also, like this, subscribe to Future Worlds while you're here as well. Make sure everyone can enjoy what we're enjoying this evening. But also to let you know, in case there are any technical problems, if the feed drops out for any reason, then we've got a backup link that we will move to seamlessly. That will be shared with everyone who has registered for the event. You'll get that emailed through to you. But you could also just go straight to the YouTube channel, the Future Worlds YouTube channel, and there you'll be able to pick up that link as well. So if the worst happens, jump straight in there. But we're assuming everything will be fine. Make sure you get involved in the chat, share what's going on, share what you're thinking, and certainly ask questions to Alena as we go so we can pick them up later on. So that's the housekeeping over. Fantastic this evening to welcome Alena Golden. Alena, you are the co-founder of Raptech Studios. That is a platform that helps rappers around the world to record, create, collaborate together, and really celebrate rap's rich cultural heritage and diversity. And of course, you've started from Belarus. You've got an office there with a dev team there and an office now in London. And your core app, Rap Fame, has gone on to have more than 10 million downloads. So a huge scale that you've been achieving. And we're really looking forward to hearing your story this evening. So Alena, thank you for joining us. But Alena, tell me, 10 million downloads on Rap Fame, how did you get that kind of traction?
Yeah, thank you so much for inviting me. Really a pleasure to be here tonight. And it's been an incredible journey. We started as a Raptech Studios, and Rap Fame, as you mentioned, is our flagship app. So it's an app that helps you to unleash your musical talent. We try to be inclusive. We welcome both amateurs, beginners, those who don't know how to create music, as well as aspiring artists for whom we help to make the next step in their musical career. And I can't believe my own eyes how it happened. Just in December 2020, we checked our Google Play Store page and saw 10 million page. Yes, it's been incredible, really happy, celebrated with the whole team. I think it's a really team achievement.
Absolutely. And you talk about a team achievement. And of course, it's not the kind of thing that you just happen to wake up to one day and suddenly there's 10 million users. There's a whole journey that's lain behind that. What's that kind of growth look like over the last few months, maybe?
Well, I think that 2020 has been like a really good year for us in terms of everybody staying at home and this need for being connected, this need for being part of the community. And we kind of, like the whole idea of Rap Fame is unite people around this creative process. So in a nutshell, it's an app that you use as a recording studio. So we provide you with the library of instrumentals, beats, help you to create your perfect lyrics. And then you publish this track and get immediate feedback from like-minded people. So it's really all about getting instant feedback from like-minded people. And this is, I believe, what people really need. And especially when everybody was frustrated, staying at home, no certainty. So I saw that our app actually made a difference and helped many people to overcome this anxiety of this pandemic time.
And I guess that's a really interesting example, isn't it? Because obviously the pandemic has really impacted loads of businesses. Loads of businesses have been in crisis, the real challenge. And yet for other people, actually it's been an opportunity. And you've had a service that you've been working on for a few years, and suddenly it's meeting a very new and particular need that the pandemic has created. Is that need for community, is that something that has really been part of the vision of what you've been working on for the last few years?
It's really interesting because I can't say that we saw particular growth during the pandemic time. I think that it was actually a good year for us, but it's not like the app was not growing before that. We were on the right trajectory even before 2020. And I think that it's actually thanks to my co-founders and potentially myself, this fact that we were a little bit ahead of the game. So for example, we started working on the rap app more than 4 years ago, and not many people, especially in the investment world, recognized rap as a mainstream genre. People saw it as a really niche app. And what we see now, hip hop and rap is #1 music genre. It's very popular. And we were kind of like a little bit ahead of the game in this sense. And with the community aspect, again, it was just a really natural part of the platform. And it just happened to be very much in demand. But yeah, I would say just it all happened quite naturally.
Quite naturally, absolutely. And what is it that led you to rap in the first place?
Yeah, it's actually my favorite story. So I have 2 co-founders, and one of my co-founders is actually my brother, and he has been a rap fan since the late 90s. And I don't know if you have an elder brother or sister, but when you have someone in your family who is passionate about something, and you really follow the example, and that's what happened in our family. So I was following example of my brother. We've been listening to lots of European rap bands. Later, got to know American rap scene. I think for us it was probably Eminem and D12. Really, when we got into American rap scene, it was early 2000s, and yeah, so it was always kind of passion, and our family really liked it. And unfortunately, neither of us, neither my brother nor I, became a rap star. But
So that was plan A, right?
it was plan A. And then at some point we decided to kind of make a difference, do something for the industry, for the hip hop culture. And we combined the expertise we had by that time in building mobile apps with this passion for hip hop music and for the community.
Yeah, and I know from talking to you, you know, you're a really hardworking person. You'd been holding down a full-time job as an SAP consultant while finishing your final year at university. You had this flourishing career, and then you'd managed to launch an app development agency and consultancy alongside. So you'd done all of this stuff. You had this flourishing career, and then you had this passion for rap and wanting to use those technical skills in that field. Well, that must have been a really tough kind of transition. How did you navigate from this career base, the security maybe that you had, the prestige you had around that, into this unknown of how do we launch something that's going to flourish within rap?
Yeah, looking back, to be honest, I don't know how it all happened. I think I was stage by stage, and for me in particular, changing my LinkedIn profile from being an CRM consultant in a SAP Salesforce into being a co-founder of a startup. It was like really something I will never forget, because I like hesitated for about 2 months before I did it, because it's kind of you never look back. You do it and you never look back. So nobody in our family was an entrepreneur really, so it was quite stressful moment to switch careers. And but on the other hand, both my brother and myself, we were always quite adventurous, and we really wanted to explore what's out there beyond giant organizations like Salesforce or SAP. And just decided to give it a go, and then met quite a few really supporting and good communities and people, including a couple of accelerators, and including a Dragon's Den type of TV program that also gave us a boost and gave us confidence to pursue this business idea. So yeah, it all was like a journey. Lots of people influenced us on the way, and here we are today.
Yeah, and that, of course, that started, was it 2016 or something? Was that you were really kind of forming that idea, and you talked about a Dragon's Den type event. What was that? Because that was back in Belarus, is that right?
Yeah, that's correct. So it was, I think, so by that time in 2015, we had this consultancy agency where we were building mobile apps for different customers and clients. And we had a nice team and expertise in building apps. and then decided to build own product. And it just was driving in my car and heard this announcement on the radio that there will be this Dragon's Den type of competition, and all the entrepreneurs, young startups, welcome to apply. And we applied, and it was really a long selection process. So there were over 500 applicants, lots of interviews, and eventually we got selected into the Dragon's Den type of competition. Although it was not just Dragon's Den type of competition, it was a combination of your classic business pitch event, plus a little bit of keep up with Kardashian, so how this show is called. So it was like a little bit a reality show as well, because the TV crew would come to our office and would film the whole team for about 2-3 months. And we, at some point, just got our 15 minutes of fame, you know, people would recognize me in the streets. So it was really, really good fun. And as a result, in early 2016, we got confidence that, okay, if we won in this Dragon's Den type of competition, it must mean something, and we should continue doing it, not as a side project, but switch to a full-time job.
And so that was, 5 years ago. That was in Belarus, and I know that it's not been a straightforward journey from there. And you've ended up then up in London. What did that journey look like from Belarus to now in London?
Yeah, it was really interesting journey with a stop in Texas, United States. So it was just like quite an interesting journey. Obviously, hip hop and rap genre, it's pretty much US first in some way. So it has origins there, and it was obvious to us that we need to get into English-speaking market, in particular in the US. And the question was, okay, how we can do it. And it was 2016. I have never, by that time, I didn't know about accelerators at all. And someone told me about this idea of acceleration program. And I found a market, like a list of all acceleration programs that are open for applications. And I believe I submitted over 100 applications to various accelerators, including Techstars, 500 startups, all of these. And there were multiple interviews. Often we would not get to the second stage. Lots of disappointment, frustration. Like looking back, like so many no's I've heard. Like, I can't believe that we stayed resilient and kept pushing. And eventually, at some point, we got accepted into this acceleration program in Texas, in Texas University acceleration program.
And just to interrupt, that's one of those great and classic stories of launching a startup. Often people look at 10 million users. Wow, how did you get so big? How did you get this traction? But actually along the way, all of the knockbacks, all of the, you've got this idea, you've got this drive, you believe in something, but really struggling on the validation, maybe the confidence that you've really got something, but then having to submit so many different applications, getting so many pushbacks. I think for me, that's one of the sides of being a founder that is often not talked about so much, that actually through those days, it was really pressing through all of the knockbacks and still believing that you had something. What was it that was driving you to think, I've done 93, let's do a 94th and a 95th application? What was the drive at that point for you?
I just don't know. To be honest, I just hate to give up. I just don't like to give up. And it was a matter of just proving to, I don't know who I was proving it to, but I just didn't want to give up. And I kind of deep inside my heart believed that we have something special. And I looked into what was happening in the world, and my brother, obviously, that hip hop was on the increase. It's so big, but people in the tech space didn't probably identify this as a business opportunity. So it was really clear that there is something in it, and that we should pursue it, and that it's stay true to yourself, to be honest. And eventually we found this acceleration program where actually one of the founders of that acceleration program was also a huge hip hop fan.
That helped.
That helped, I believe, yes. So yeah, we got accepted to Texas, and just to finish how I got eventually to London, so we did 3 months program there. Really was an eye-opening experience, really interesting, but I was really homesick, was really far from home. And then when this opportunity came up to apply for a Wyra acceleration program led by O2. I don't know if you've heard of it, a London-based acceleration program. So this opportunity came up and we applied again. Was a tricky one whether we should go for the second acceleration program or not, because it's you give away equity and not necessarily pleasant experience in this sense. But we thought that London is a nice bridge between the US and the rest of Europe. And I've never regretted this decision, really, like the startup scene here. And since 2017, we are based in London.
So, wow. So it was Wyra that then brought you into London. And of course, that's plugged into the whole Telefonica network. Like, what difference did Wyra make to you?
I think that being a foreign founder, it was in the first place introductions to the community, because I didn't study here. I didn't have those connections. So I think connections in the first place, that what was really helpful. Met so many incredible founders, so many incredible investors through Wyra. They did really good job in training us how to present in public events. Was also very stressful school of presenting. Yeah, and the whole O2 family, Telefonica family, is really something very special, because as you know, I don't know if our viewers know, but Telefonica is one of the largest telco companies worldwide. They have a huge audience in Latin America, Spain, in Germany and the UK. I believe they trade as O2. Yeah, and it opened up quite a few opportunities. We did a battle rap tournament for them in London, in Westfield, where best Manchester artists were competing with best London MCs. So it was really quite a cool event we made together.
And so at that time, from talking to you, you had launched really as Battle Me, is that right? And from there, maybe tell us a bit more about what Battle Me was, and then how you transitioned from that into now Rap Fame, Raptech Studios as this broader collection.
Yeah, well, that was really down to analyzing users' behavior. Like, I will jump into it in a moment. So indeed, we started as a battle rap app, a dedicated rap battle arena. So the idea was you record your track, challenge anyone to a rap battle, and then the whole community votes and decide who the winner is. And that was good fun. I don't know if you've seen Eminem's 8 Mile movie.
It's not my genre, sadly.
Well, you should check it out. It's just unbelievable. So this 8 Mile movie is essentially what inspired us in the first place. We decided to bring this experience from being nobody into becoming a rap star through your skills as a battle rapper into an app. So that was Battle Me, essentially. But soon, like not soon, I think after 1 or 2 years, we actually realized that our users not only want to battle and to compete, they also want to record solo tracks. And they really want to get feedback on their solo tracks. And that's how the transition started, and eventually led to us renaming the app from Battle Me into Rap Fame, where we help you to build your musical career and become better in your skills as a solo artist sometimes. And also you can still battle and collaborate, but it's really more about you as an individual.
And now it sounds, as you sort of look back on it, or as you talk it back, it can sound like this kind of seamless, smooth transition. It was all planned. You knew exactly what was happening, and look at how well that's worked. but I know that in reality, as you're walking through it, it's anything but smooth. It's messy. It's difficult. It's racked with kind of dilemmas and uncertainties. What did that transition look like for you?
We had so many meetings with like my two co-founders, and also Max joined the team, our head of growth, and we had multiple meetings, brainstorming sessions where we would analyze trademarks, website domains, what is available, what is relevant, what should be what the name should be to reflect the product offering. And it was like really a sequence of conversations and research that eventually led us to introducing Rep Fame as a standalone app. Battle Me we kept as a dedicated Rep Battle Arena. And then we also introduced our third app called Rep Z, specifically built for Generation Z. So people who don't have time to wait, and you can get your amazing hip hop video in 15 seconds. And as a result, we decided to combine this group of apps under umbrella called Rep Tech Studios.
So that's the outcome. Obviously, you'd had a few years of Battle Me leading up to that. What had that given you that helped you to then know exactly what to do? It was 2019, is that right? That you were making that pivot. What did you learn from the preceding few years?
I would say it was not easy decision, because people and partners and investors knew us as Battle Me, and Battle Me is a really cool name. And our users loved it in the first place. Everybody would wear T-shirts saying Battle Me, and it's a really cool name. And we just saw that it's so controversial to what the app is offering. So I'm looking at data analytics, and I'm looking at the app's name, and I understand that these two don't match, and we need to address it. And it was really stressful. We had to like explain it to our investors, to our board of directors, to ourselves, to our users, most importantly. Like the worst part was to introduce it to the users, because everybody knew us as Battle Me. And also you have to remember your Apple Store presence. Obviously, Google and Apple knew us as Battle Me, and we were indexed like Battle Me everywhere, and we had to lose our positions in rankings in the Apple Store and on Google Play in order to change. So we sacrificed. Maybe it took us 2-3 months to get back on the top leading positions for our keywords and etc. etc. So we had to put some marketing budget. So it was like really quite a project to make this rebranding.
And I mean, that's a scary time, right? That you're suddenly making this sacrifice. You're suddenly going down in the rankings. What's it look like from there on in? So that was 2019. You kind of went through this, taking the hit, but you had this conviction around this is the right thing to do. What's that journey look like from there?
Yeah, it was summer 2019. And I think that it was time when my co-founders and the whole team, we kind of got to the next level of self-confidence, of trusting our instincts and not being afraid to make bold decisions, because it was a really bold decision. It was quite a risky step. And luckily, it all worked out well. After that, we saw a really significant boost. We got featured by Apple in 163 countries as App of the Day. We got so much support from Google Play as well. We're invited as one of the favorite app developers to one of the events, etc. So I think that it was the right decision, because it was authentic decision, and it was kind of it reflected the reality. So that was a really important lesson to learn, to do what makes sense rather than to what other people expect from you, including your partners, investors, whatever.
And I guess that's been a real challenge as a founder, isn't it? Is growing in the confidence and the conviction to pursue a direction that you kind of know is right, but maybe some of those around you, they're not so sure. Like, how do you handle yourself? How do you manage yourself through that period when you're having to negotiate those relationships with those around you?
Oh yeah, that's so many interesting questions. So I would say that what helps is being not a solo founder. I'd say the fact that I have two co-founders and that we can, after all, we can vote and just decide and make decisions um, kind of together. And then if I go into a meeting with our investors or partners, I represent not only myself, but our group of co-founders. And it gives you confidence because you not only rely on your instincts, it's kind of group decision. So I think this is helpful. And also, again and again, I would be repeating, looking into your data, because data doesn't lie. If data says this is what it is, then, well, you should better respond to it.
And you talk about data, and we talked about, 10 million users, the incredible traction, and it doesn't just happen. What's the data that you really track? What are the metrics that you track to make sure that you're heading in the right direction?
I think that there are two main aspects. Number one is identify your core users. Try to look at their behavior patterns, try to see what is this value that they get from your product, and then try to understand how you can introduce these main features to a wider audience. For example, of course, on Rap Fame, core users are those who are probably semi-professionals or professional artists. And that's great because they produce amazing content. I don't listen to mainstream music anymore because I just listen to our Rap Fame playlists, because that's the level of quality we get there. Really talented people. But the second very important aspect is to how you make this product inclusive, how you make these features available for beginners, for those who don't maybe have talent or expertise or experience, how you explain them what to do. And that's why we, for example, introduced this feature called masterclasses, one of my favorite features, where our top users, our strongest users, provide ready-to-go lyrics, and beginners can just train and look how professionals do it, and then kind of gradually improve their skills.
That's really, really helpful, Alena. I'm really keen. I know that there are some questions that are coming through on the chat, so I'm really keen to ask a few questions that have come in as well. I can see Nueva, and it's maybe topical, and I can imagine what you're going to say. But they're saying, I wouldn't consider myself a battle rapper, but I make music in the hip hop genre. Is Rap Fame a good app for me to use? Well, I can imagine what you're going to say, and maybe picking up on that last thing that you said. What would you say to them?
100% yes, and that's I'm so happy that this question came up, because that's exactly what Rap Fame is about. So it's an inclusive platform. It's a platform for collaboration. You can battle people, but you can build your solo career. You can collaborate with other artists. But if you fancy just being a bit brutal and be a bit kind of challenge your friends, go and use Battle Me. Why not?
And so it goes right from just kind of messing around in the bedroom right through. I know some of your users off the back of using your app have ended up with record deals with Universal. Is that right? Or kind of going into some really amazing openings?
Yeah, we have quite a few stories like that. The one that you named is obviously the most interesting one. So this artist, Breeze, he actually just hit 1 million plays on Rap Fame. So he is indeed our legend. But we have a lot of really talented users on the app, and we try to not just say, okay, go and get a record deal. We internally as a team, we would want to provide our strongest users, our top users, ways within the ecosystem, within the RepTech studios, solutions for them to become big names on the mainstream hip hop industry.
Yeah, and is that one of the drives for you? Is that the kind of the motivation to do it in the first place? Is to see people engage with rap, to see that community come together?
Yes, I think that the whole team have slightly different reasons why we are doing it, but I will talk about myself. For me, the key is to give people an outlet, a positive outlet for their energy, and make it easy, as easy as possible to do your first steps in the music, in your music career. Because with your mobile phone, it's never been easier. So why would you be lonely? Why would you be doing some silly things? You can just put your energy and be creative and be part of the community.
Yeah. So there's a question from Grace, which was, what advice do you have for founders in just keeping on persevering?
Sorry, say it again.
So it was about what advice do you have for founders about just keeping on persevering? You've obviously had to persevere through lots of challenges and knockbacks. What advice would you give to other founders about persevering?
I think that talking to other founders is also really helpful. Just not staying in when some hardships happen or whatever. Just try to talk to people at your stage, or maybe more advanced stage founders, and try to find a mentor perhaps. So for me, really helpful was these mentors who our acceleration program introduced me to. Still in touch with them. Lots of interesting insights. Really helped to stay on track and to not give up during hard times.
Yeah. And that maybe relates to another question that's there. Alex was saying, what's the biggest single lesson that you learned from the Accelerator programs you went through?
Single. There are so many. I just think this sense of community that accelerators also, by the way, give you. I still am very much in touch with our cohort, 2017 Vira cohort. So this whole sense of community and support and paying back and kind of giving back, it's really incredible. So I think like believe in people and believe in connections. So this is a lesson.
Yeah.
It is a lesson. I don't know.
It's like the community more than the specific lesson in itself. It's that environment. I resonate really strongly with that. So there's someone else here who's Dan's asking, I'd be interested to understand if there are any difficulties for you in breaking into an industry that's so often viewed as male artist dominated. Is that been an additional challenge for you, or?
It's been an additional challenge for sure. I would say yes. It's not that easy. Luckily, I don't really bother about who thinks what about me being a female, me being not the right age, not the right whatever. I just don't care that much. But I see sometimes some biases and some obstacles related to it. But I personally think that we should judge people according to their actions and according to who they are, and that's how I expect people to treat me, and that's what navigates me and helps me.
Yeah. And do you find that with momentum that's now coming around what you've done, does that then help to silence some of those doubters and the skeptics? Like they can see the results of what you've done.
Yeah, well, there were several people who were quite strict in their feedback, and I remember some of them were saying stuff like they really didn't believe in us. But I would say majority of people believed in us, and I just try not to dwell on those couple of people who were maybe not as optimistic and positive, because there were so many people who believed in us. You should just try to be focused on positives. Of course, there will be some negative people, but just I think overall the community of the startup scene in the UK is really supportive, and really lots of positive people.
Yeah. And that does make such a difference, isn't it? Because it can be a lonely road along the way. That support from the community can make such a difference, can't it? So we've got another question, which is, we'd just be interested to hear any advice that you have for keeping good relationships with co-founders.
Yeah, that's a really funny one. So number one is trust your co-founders, and Yeah, because I think without trust, I saw quite a few startups failing just because there was no trust between co-founders. I'm like really fortunate because one of my co-founders is my brother, and a second one is my really, really close friend from uni. And so we've known each other for years, and we ended up like most of our team are actually either friends or like friends of friends or something like that. So it's a really, really nice environment. Yeah, I think that so again, the question was about how to not argue with your co-founders.
Well, to keep good relationships. Maybe that includes good arguments, maybe.
Yeah, I think that try to have regular syncs. So we, for example, introduced weekly syncs with co-founders, regardless how busy everybody is. We just have this 1.5 hour on a Friday when we just have this call and discuss things. That's what works for us at this stage. Obviously, in the past, there were some other techniques, but I just think that talking through and being transparent is important.
Yeah. So there's a few questions I can see that are more specific to the platform. So there's one from Becky that's saying, love the collaborative nature of getting top users to supply lyrics and engage with beginners. How much kind of effort and time does that take from your team to facilitate that? Or was that all around the tech development in the background to make it run seamlessly?
Yes, I would say we are getting to a stage where it's now equally important the development part of the product and the content part of the product, because so many incredible things are happening within the community. We just need to extract it or to kind of guide this what is happening within the community. So our next hirings are actually within the content space. So guys, if you're looking for a job in the really good, fast-growing company,
it's a great place to work.
Yeah. If you like hip hop and if you want to help people improve, that's the place for you. So yeah, I'd say a lot of content curation. So it's not just like that. Obviously, we try to implement some AI solutions to kind of help our content team, but still lots of manual work and actual listening to the content.
Yeah, that's really interesting. And so another really specific question, where do you get the instrumentals from on the app? Where do you source them from?
Yeah, we actually work with really, really interesting beat makers and producers. So we at the moment work with independent producers. Sometimes we just find them on YouTube, some upcoming beatmaker producer. Sometimes people approach us. We have like this specific form within the app where each producer can submit their beat, and our team will listen to these submissions. And if we like it, we'll send you an agreement, and you eventually end up being on RepFame, listed to our users.
Fantastic. And just one last question, looking ahead now. So Devon's saying, it sounds like artists would love this across the board, not just in hip hop and rap. Are you interested in expanding into other genres, or stay focused on this genre?
That's a great question. I think that, again, the answer to this question changed over time. Originally, with Battle Me, we wanted to build like a competition platform across different genres. Now with RepFame, and with RepFame being our flagship app, we really want to be focused. We believe we have all the chances to become the main platform, the main hub for all the hip hop fans worldwide. We already have 8 communities according to your language. So we have your English community, your Italian community, Spanish. Like we have 8 language communities. And we have all the chances, in my view, to become the main platform for hip hop fans worldwide.
So stay focused. It's a massive market. It's a global market. You can dominate that market. So be brilliant at that rather than distracted off into other genres. It's a great answer. Alena, it's been fantastic to have you sharing your story and engage with those questions. I really, really appreciated it. I'm just going to ask you one last question as we wrap up. You alluded to this kind of few months where you were really, stressed and concerned and fearful, maybe even changing your LinkedIn profile to co-founder from what you were doing. If you could transport yourself back to there, that's 5 years ago, what advice would you give yourself at that point about what you should do? You're doubting, you're fearing, you're not sure if this is the step for you, because there's many people in our audience across the university that are probably in that position, that they're thinking maybe this is something I should do, but I'm doubting, I'm fearful, I'm not quite sure. What advice would you have given to yourself?
I think that to myself, I wouldn't give any advice because I think that it was all like very logical what I was doing, and I think that eventually I did this change, and that was all right. To the audience, I would say, guys, now I think the time is perfect for doing these steps in this startup scene. It's booming. I think the UK is an incredible country for building your own business. I see such great support from the government, from different initiatives, incredible investors community. I think the investors community is actually just really, really supportive, and so many great people. So I think why not try? Why not to try? I think the timing is perfect. It's really like smart is the new sexy. So just go and try.
Fantastic. Alena, thank you so much. It's been great to have you share that story with us. So thank you everyone for joining. Please do, like the video, subscribe to the Future Worlds channel, but also come back to our next event. So our next live YouTube event is going to be with Karen Catlin. That's just in 3 weeks' time on the 18th of March. Karen Catlin, she was the VP of Engineering in Adobe, based in Silicon Valley, a real leader in coaching and leadership in that field, but particularly has pioneered the Better Allies approach to giving each of us everyday actions that we can take that help to make more inclusive and engaged workplaces. And so that's going to be a great opportunity to hear from Karen about how we can all take these everyday actions to improve the inclusiveness of where we're working. So really looking forward to that. Come back, join us. That's on Thursday, the 18th of March. Thank you very much indeed for joining.